What's happening, my beautiful people? My name is Mike LaBelle, and today, my friends, we're bringing back the how-to series, FIFA 19 edition, where I'm talking about some of the best players in the world, and we're going to break down what they do very well. Why are they winning events? Why are they being talked about in this light? Whether it's attacking, it's defending, it's somewhere in between. They have that level of consistency. And if you guys enjoyed this series, please stop what you're doing, drop a thumbs up. It always takes me a while to review the gameplay and make sure that what I'm saying makes sense for you at home and also on my end, that everything correlates and translates properly when I'm analyzing the gameplay and I get the right clip examples to kind of showcase what makes this guy special. And we're starting off with Msdossary. And in the comments, let me know if you have any questions about his gameplay, how he sets up his team and his tactics, because that's something I've been doing at a lot of these events. If there are any games in particular, when you see an event and you've got matchup A versus matchup B, I can dive in deep to some of these matchups and make a separate video just talking about why this guy was successful, what he did well, and it maybe took his opposition out of the game in terms of a matchup or an adjustment, a game plan, something along those lines. Also, happy holidays to everyone. No matter what you celebrate or don't celebrate, I'm happy to have you here. We're about to make it to another year. And I do apologize. I know I put out a video at the very beginning of this month saying, hey, I'm coming with daily uploads. I'm going to be able to do it. Even though I was traveling for 3 weeks, I was moving to a new apartment. I've got my parents coming into town. That was a bad idea. I bit off more than I could chew. I apologize. I wanted to be ambitious. I wanted to drop all these tips and tutorial videos. I've got so much going on up here, and I just didn't have the time to properly put it together unless I was going to start putting out, for lack of a better word, suspect content. I want to keep the standard high, and I didn't want to have that fall off. But let's talk about Msdossary. So what are Msdossary's best traits? What makes this guy special? Why is he so consistent at events over the last couple years? And it starts with his defense. And with many professional players, it will always begin with their defense. Even if you see a big score line and a lot of back and forth, typically offense doesn't win championships. And that's why you have that cliche saying where you talk about defense being the staple to success. And the way that Msdossary defends, especially when he's on his A game, he's able to take a lot of his opponents out of the matches because they're not able to have their simple pass and I get a shot or I get an opportunity. He's going to force them to make additional passes, additional reads, especially with your ability in FIFA 19 to move the goalkeeper. That is another method. It's a new introduction that is a form of playing defense. Possession and structure, and both of these fuel what makes Msdossary so gifted and talented. I know I also have tactical adjustments, which kind of plays into the possession and the structure, but the amount of times that I've watched this man play where I could tell he's dictating the pace. He's going to tell his opposition what's happening and when it's happening, and sometimes it's because of smart formation choices, but you have to combine that with having that structure and having that possession. Msdossary is special in the way that he's almost able to lull you into a mistake. You think you're playing well, everything's going, oh, breezy. Gets a goal, so now Msdossary is ahead of you. And what happens is he holds the ball so well that he almost makes it where you think you can be aggressive. You think that you can start to put additional pressure on him, and then he attacks. Then he goes forward. Then he gets in behind. And it's been a staple for his attacking play, and also it's the best defense. If Msdossary has the ball, that means you don't have the ball, which means you're going to be limited in terms of how many attacks you're going to be able to generate. The last thing I want to touch on before we get into the clip analysis, talking about all these traits, is his understanding of situations. Sometimes this deals with set pieces, sometimes it deals with a 2v1 or a 1v1. He's going to score goals that other people might not convert. In fact, the majority of people won't convert, and that's a mastery of understanding what's happening on the pitch, when it's happening on the pitch in practice. So we got to give Msdossary credit where credit is due. The man is clearly putting in that extra time where he knows how to handle a variety of situations where other people on the vice versa don't know how to defend it, and they might not also be able to generate the same type of attack in that same scenario. Let's start this out right and talk about defense. We've got F2 Tex, we've got Msdossary, and whoever won this matchup, when I was watching this live at Gfinity, I felt, okay, these are the top two players in the world right now. Whoever wins this is going to win the whole thing, and sure enough, that happened. Whether it would have been Tex on a three-peat or Msdossary back to his typical greatness. The man's been a monster the last couple years. And in this freeze frame, you've got Msdossary on the defensive end. And I would call this a bait and back off. So he's going to act as if he's going to put pressure on the ball, and then he's going to back off and try to anticipate Tech's next pass. And the best defenders in FIFA 19 are micromanagers that anticipate, which means that you're able to manage 2 or 3 players very quickly in terms of switching between those players, and you're going to guess where your opponent's going to pass, where is he going to go next, and you do that over and over again. It's a combination of having that level of focus and also that level of being able to see the game just ahead of your opposition. We don't talk about this enough, and I want to do a video discussing Tech's gameplay in terms of his offense and his defense, but that man is special on the defensive end, extremely underrated and underappreciated, and he deserves a lot more credit for how well he actually defends. The reason that Tex has won events is because of his defense, not because of his offense, even though we all credit his offense. On these last couple examples, we see a couple chasebacks from Msdossary. I just think they're good examples of some of the more traditional ways to defend, and more importantly, he doesn't lose possession afterward. He's not rushed. He's going to stay calm, cool, composed, and when you're attacking and when you're defending, you've got to be decisive. Next up, we have possession and controlling the attacks. I'm not going to use a bunch of freeze frames here. Basically, if you watch the games back, you're just going to see Msdossary do this over and over again. He makes sure everybody on the pitch touches the ball. He's not going to make mistakes, and it puts you in a position where you start to chase. He almost controls you to death, and that's where you're going to see this rewind. And whether you saw this in FIFA 17, FIFA 18, in this year's installment, that's always going to be something that makes his gameplay what it is. He's good at this. He might be the best in the world at this. So if you allow him to control a game, you're going to be in big trouble. And as you get aggressive, that's when he strikes. That's when he gets in behind. That's when he's going to cause problems, and you're going to feel the pain. Got F2 Tex and Msdossary once again. And in that matchup in particular, we saw set pieces become very impactful, as you see Ruud Gullit. And you've got to give credit where credit is due. The extra skills, the extra steps. In that in particular example, when you saw that step over, he got the right angle. And in this freeze frame, most of us hit and hope. Even the top level players, we're just going to throw it in the mixer. You hope that one of your tall players gets on the end of it. And you can tell that Msdossary has practiced this. And it leads to him scoring a goal and going on to win this match. It was a really big goal, actually, in extra time in order to get ahead of Tex. And Tex probably doesn't have a lot of experience defending from that scenario. It's just not that common of a place for your opponent to draw fouls. And then knowing what to do from there, you have to have experienced that time and time again. And that's something that I want to bring up with Msdossary that separates him or gives him a little bit of extra juice in some of these really key moments in matches. In the last bit of breakdowns, we're going to start out with an F2 Tex finish, and this put him ahead in the game, and he deserved it. Between the skill moves, the passing, being able to read the goalkeeper ahead of time, it's impressive. But I want to bring some attention to the tactical adjustments from Msdossary, and we've seen this at many different levels from him, whether it's to control a game, whether it's to counter somebody else's formation. In this case, he needed additional pressure. He needed to make sure that he was giving himself a chance to gain that upper hand, to change the pace of a match, the ability to make somebody uncomfortable. And that's exactly what we're going to see. And it allows Msdossary to come back and force extra time, where we saw him go on from there and win in extra time, because even somebody as composed and has such an understanding of the game was still not able to necessarily close this game out. And I'm sure that he would have loved to have this back, and it's something that he's rewatched time and time again. But it's another area that I think Msdossary is very gifted in terms of knowing not just that he needs to make a change, but what players to sub out, what game plans to swap into, what formations are going to work best versus this style. We've seen him use sometimes 3, 4, 5 formations within a tournament in some of the previous installments. This year, it's more common to have a bunch of formations in your locker because you can switch on the fly, as you see that key goal there. He got a 2-for-1. I did a breakdown at the event talking about why he whipped in the cross and why that worked out for him. But it's just an area that separates him from not only normal players, but also professional players. Just knowing, okay, I see what my opposition is doing, and I know how to counter this. And some of that's experience, some of that is being special, and some of that is just practice, practice, practice. So the man is putting in a lot of time. You got to remember, Msdossary started out this year, Continental Cup, he didn't look that good. He didn't understand some of the timed finishing. He didn't understand some of the goalkeeper movements. And then in Bucharest, he started looking a little bit better. And then by the time he got to Gfinity, he looked like the old Msdossary. I can't wait to see these two face off more in the future. Thanks again for watching. If you enjoyed the content, make sure to drop a thumbs up, share it around the community. Let me know what's happening in the comments down below. I'm still working out the best format for this series, but I definitely think this is a good opener, and you guys can give me that feedback, and I'll have a lot more coming out for you ASAP.
Now you just wanna get high, next day you forgot. Thought I told you that. This my niche, play my role, what you hold, little boy best don't reach. Your shit dirt, you get curved, I just saw and reap. With that ease, hella clean, rips all on your knees. That's that work when you hurt, my head full of steam.